It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Schick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster. And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
How are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Doing well.
Oh,
Yeah.
Same as usual.
That bad, huh? Hope everybody's doing okay out there. So what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy?
Corner of the galaxy. Funny you should say that.
Oh, damn.
It's not like you don't say it every week, right?
Mm.
In my corner of the galaxy, we're still watching Andor. And it did pick up a little, so I'm okay with it now. But I haven't really been wanting to go back to it, so I kept putting it off. And I told B, I said, hey, Thomas told me that I should probably watch that movie and I'd probably like this a little better. And he's like, yeah, you might, he says, I don't know if it'll help you with what they're doing here, though. He said, because, he's seen the movie and that's what made him watch the series and stuff. And he says, and that part still doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And I said, okay, so I'm not missing much. So we decided to go ahead and finish the first season and then watch the movie and then watch the second season. So I think we're about halfway through the first season. And I finally understand what's going on. I'm still unsure of why they laid so much out for us to be where we're at in this series. So I'm curious how that's going to play into the rest of the story. But yeah, it's gotten better. Definitely, like I said, definitely gotten better.
I'll have to watch it and maybe I can help out.
Yeah. Like I said, that first part, it was just like, oh my God,
Or I may watch it and be just as confused as you are. Who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
Always a possibility.
And I understood the story that they told us, but I just don't understand how it relates to anything that's going on right now. It kind of reminds me of that meme, cool story, bro.
Mm.
What the hell? So, but yeah, there was something else I watched, but it's not ringing a bell right now. Yeah, I forgot. Yesterday was my sister's birthday, so it was kind of a weird week for me. But a lot of Supernatural, which you guys don't want to hear about.
If we ever heard about Supernatural, it wouldn't have been an issue.
Oh, right. Well, I like it's crazy. B doesn't understand it, but I like watching it on TV, which is weird because I hate commercials, right?
Hmm.
So what I started doing is now I record the ones on TV. So when I wake up, I can pause it and get coffee and all that other stuff. So all during the day, I can still fast forward through the commercials and, still continue to watch Supernatural. Yes, I know I can watch it on streaming. It's just not the same. I don't know why, but it's not. So
Well, I
there's
think
that.
it would be easy to do since I think is it TNT that does like marathons
Uh-huh.
2 or 3 days a week?
Well, they're on, I think it's 3 out of the 5 days,
Okay.
and then not weekends because they play movies all weekend. But they split that time with Charmed. I don't like Charmed. I used to like Charmed, but I don't like Charmed anymore. The good one's gone. So, you know.
They lost their charm, I guess.
Well, it did. And it goes back to the old saying of never meet your heroes. Because it's like once you learn what kind of people they are, you just, you know, that's kind of what happened to me with Charm. I learned what kind of people they were, and I just don't care for them. So it kind of makes it harder to watch them on TV, you know. That's what I'm saying. If anything bad ever came out about Jensen Ackles, just go ahead and bury me now because I could not take that. And I would just, yeah,
Yeah,
I
You,
don't know
you
what
guys
I
heard
would
it.
do,
We've been given permission.
I'm going to get the shovel right now.
right?
Okay.
I will hold you to
Funny that you should bring that up. I
that.
do have some information about Jensen Ackles.
What what you got?
No, I'll tell you in private.
Oh, okay.
I don't want a suicide here on the radio.
Hey, might bring some notoriety to the show. Heck, you know.
You know,
True that.
famous after you're dead, you know.
Wow. Just wow.
We're a morbid group here.
A little bit.
Gotta think about those clicks.
Yeah. You know, one they played last week that, like I said, I record these, so I had to watch it again a couple of times this week. I really love the crossover they did with Scooby. I mean, it's perfect. Just them trying to hunt the monsters down, and Sam and Dean, of course, know monsters are real. They kill them every week, you know. And then you have the Scooby Gang who are like, "Oh, it's probably good old Mr. Genius." So when you mix those two worlds, they were kind of like, "What is going on? You know, what do you mean the monster's real?" So it's kind of cool because of course, you know, Sam and Dean are fully aware of they are not supposed to be here, you know. So it's not like a guest appearance on Scoobyverse. They actually kind of got drawn into that universe, so they know they're not supposed to be there. They know they're not cartoons.
Drawn into.
Are we sure?
Look, Dean had to break it down to Sam a few times. No, you can't tell them that.
Break it down, player.
And the episode that you know, he was watching it. Dean, of course, has seen this, you know, a million times, probably like with me and Scooby. So he knew what was happening in the episode because he'd already seen it so many times, you know. So it was kind of like you got to let the story play out, you know. But I just thought it was really neat the way they handled that. But and of course, then they follow it up with the one that absolutely breaks my heart of Dean losing his memories. And of course, this being my, you know, my sister's birthday and everything else, it was just kind of like, oh my God, why the hell do I do this to myself?
That's a fantastic question.
Right. I could change this, you know.
On so many fronts.
Hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if I will say this is the second year without her, and it's not getting easier. I won't lie and say that, but it's nice now that I can remember things about her and it doesn't bring me to tears. I can actually laugh about it now or, you know, whatever. But it's getting easier in that sense that I can actually remember my sister, you know, without breaking down. You know.
That's great.
Yep. It's all
So
part of the process.
it is, you know, and yeah, I mean yeah. So I said it's been an interesting couple of months. So I'm I'm doing it though. So
Yep.
yeah. But yeah, like I said, we all met yesterday at her favorite Chinese food joint and had lunch and just kind of talked and laughed and had a good time, you know.
Cool.
So it's different. So, and then I have my birthday coming up. Yay!
That's supposed to be a hint or something?
Yep. Uh, yeah. I think
You
it's
want,
on Thursday. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I've been doing. Like I said, I've been doing a lot of running, so I won't bore you guys with that.
You getting ready for a marathon or something?
Feels like it.
You said you're doing a lot of running, so
All running, a lot of poking, and a bunch of fucking vampires is what they
um, yes,
are.
it sure feels that way sometimes.
It does. But yeah, that's about all I got.
Well, alrighty then. Speaking of vampires, um,
ah,
no, really. Speaking of vampires, so the movie I watched this week, was another one of the ones from that, that vampire video. Um,
that list that I made you aware of.
that list that you made me aware of and
Mm,
shamed me into, well, it made me shame myself into watching.
Gave me to you guys just to say, hey,
You know, it's this. I'm not blaming you for sure. I'm doing this to myself.
don't worry, you're gonna have a chance to give me hell here in a minute, so just that's all right.
Oh, cool. That'll be fun. So the vampire movie I watched this week was called Kiss of the Vampire. It is from 1963, and it is a Hammer film. It's another Hammer film that does not have Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing in it. And this is actually a reasonably early Hammer vampire movie. Um, so there's that. There are things that progressed as the Hammer films went on. Um, and I mean, not gonna lie, one of the things that people watch these movies for is that they increasingly included more and more female nudity. This was an early one, so it kind of didn't. Although it did set an interesting precedent, I found out, because um, the cult uniform for the cult of vampires from this movie was basically white robes. So it kind of started that precedent. Um, as you go further into the future with these movies, those white robes become exclusively female and very, very thin and easy to see through. Um, but there was actually none of that in this movie. And
Aw,
it's essentially the same deal. It's the same um, story template that they used for most of the vampire movies they did. So not really any surprises. I mean, it seems to be reasonably well done. I actually was capped watching this movie because the only way I could find it was the Tubi, the version on Tubi is the dubbed Spanish version with English subtitles. And let me if you weren't if you haven't watched a lot of dubbed films, let me tell you something. Um, especially in the early time frames of these types of things, um, they aren't really working that hard to dub these movies. Um, there's not a lot of acting involved with the dubbing. It's mostly just people reading the script in Spanish. Sometimes they have different people reading the script in Spanish, and sometimes it's the same person reading all of the characters in Spanish and not, like I said, acting or anything. So it's a little monotonous. Um,
Sorry.
and there's just not a lot of emotion in it.
Hmm.
So this version is actually, it's hard to tell how good a movie it really is. I mean, it's fine. It's, as far as I can tell, it's not the top of the heap. It's not the bottom. It's fairly average Hammer vampire flick. Um, the only way that the only way I could see myself being wrong in that assessment is if, like I said, if the acting is a whole lot better than I can get from the dubbed version. Um, it's pretty standard fare. Um, if you're into watching all the Hammer horror, which all the Hammer vampire films, which apparently I am, which is why I'm doing this to myself, it's worth watching. There's not really anybody well known in it, but there's what look like some pretty good performances in it. Um, the characters are okay. I mean, the template makes for some fairly bland stuff. Um, this is a perfectly reasonable adaptation of that template, so it's fine. I wouldn't say don't watch it or anything. It's not bad. I would definitely recommend trying harder than I did, I guess, to find the original, the not dubbed version, because man, I bet it makes some difference, even if it's not a ton. But
So
you know,
let me get this straight.
mm-hmm,
A British film
mm-hmm,
dubbed in Spanish with English
mm-hmm.
subtitles.
Yes, that is correct. Not particularly well dubbed in Spanish either.
Oh
Um,
God, you gotta love it.
yeah, I mean, I could, if I wasn't like trying to get some of the music, I would honestly have just muted it and just read the subtitles.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see their lips moving. They're not moving the same exactly, but it's fine. Um, but the deal is that in these, I mean, Hammer was pretty good about it too. The music is usually pretty good. Um, it's sometimes, I mean, after a while, it will get a bit samey because again, it's the same problem with the template thing. They're using, if not the same, I mean, a lot of times they're using the same composers.
Hmm.
There's two or three of them, if I remember correctly, and it's the same guys doing it.
Right.
Um, so I mean, if by the time you get through like the 15th film, it's yeah a bit samey, but
Yeah.
that's pretty
Yep.
hardcore. But generally speaking, it's pretty good also.
Yeah.
So so I didn't mute it simply for that, and I would almost consider watching it again muted just to see if I could tell a difference. Because you can, I mean, there are other hints as to what's going on that you don't necessarily need musical cues, but you know,
Right.
so it was
And
fun.
yeah, and I don't have a problem with subtitles. I just talked about Wreck last week, and that was a Spanish film
Right, that was
with
straight up
English.
Spanish.
That was yeah, but it's just the weirdness of it being a British film, with Spanish
With Spanish
dubbing
dubbing.
and then English subtitles.
Well,
It's
and
just funny.
I think you get a lot more of that in the UK because they're they're playing as much to the European market as they are to the
Oh yeah,
US
of
market.
course, of
And
course.
so you don't get whereas we don't see a lot of that because we're in the US. I think it happened, especially in certain time periods, like in the 50s and 60s. They were soaking up any movies they could get their hands on it because, I mean, I don't want to say Europe's film scene was very different from America's, for sure, um, for good or for bad. I think there weren't, they didn't really have a Hollywood in Europe, and they really kind of still don't.
No,
So each country in Europe is kind of making its own films, and because they want to make money, they're sharing them because they don't have 4.3 million theater screens to fill up in France, for example. They have, I don't know, a couple 100,000 maybe. So they want to get their stuff into more theaters. So yeah, they're going to be more likely to dub it because they can do it cheap. I mean, and boy, this one was done cheap, but yeah, that's okay. A lot of them were
Yeah.
because they wanted to keep it as cheap and easy as possible so they could get on screens in other countries. And when that other country is 200 miles away, it's easier and more important at the same time. So yeah, I mean, it's a bummer. I would like to try a little harder, maybe at some find the original of this movie, but yeah, I got other movies to watch in the meantime.
Okay. Anything else?
Nope, that's all I got.
Okay. Les.
What?
First of all, wake up.
Oh, thank you. Okay, first we got to talk about Jensen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we'll say that for another day.
To be continued.
So cruel.
But you know, his new series does come out Wednesday.
Ooh.
I guess I'll have to try to find a way to bring it out next Wednesday then. For me, I didn't do much. I just sat back and watched several little vignettes on YouTube and thoroughly enjoyed them. For some of them, I thought, wow, this is really crappy. But yeah, I did watch them anyway. Spent a lot of time on So Bad It's Good. Obviously, love that stuff. So that's probably all I've got to talk about. Just going to crawl back into my web and watch what I can.
Have you spelled out some pig in your web yet?
No, not yet. It's working its way.
Yeah, it is real easy to lose hours in the YouTube thing.
Mm-hmm.
You bring up Charlotte's Web, and it's something I've never understood. Okay, a spider puts a message in its web, some pig, and then everybody goes, "Oh, that's such a great pig," and I was like, "Wait a minute, a freaking spider is trying to communicate with you, and you're paying attention to the pig? What the hell?"
That's a reasonable point. It is a reasonable point.
Oh God. Anyway, kind of the same thing with me. Spent a lot of time checking things out on YouTube. I did have something here I wanted to point out. There's one of these channels that I follow. It's called Retro Vault. Yes, I do follow a lot of retro stuff. But I found a video that he did. It was kind of interesting, so I watched it and I made some notes about it. He did a list, and he admitted right off the bat it's kind of biased. It's, there's really no, it's all subjective. He has no really, analytical stats or anything like that. But he did a list of the 13 greatest sequels of all time. Now, once again, I'm gonna say this again. This is his list. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And for the record, I've watched 10 of these 13. And
Okay.
a couple of these you're going to give me crap because I hadn't seen them. So, starting off number 13.
Number 13.
Hot Shots Part 2.
Does that really count as a sequel? Because there wasn't a first one.
Yeah, there was.
Yeah.
Was
There's
there?
There's Hot Shots and there's Hot Shots Part 2.
I don't remember who was in the first one.
They were both Charlie Sheen, but
Yeah.
Hot Shots was more a takeoff of Top Gun, and then Part 2 was more Rambo.
Okay. Okay. Maybe the deal is I only remember the first one, and I thought it was the second one.
And that's about all I remember with those two movies.
Mhm.
I don't remember anything else other than Lloyd Bridges was incredible. Just how stupid he was acting.
Mhm.
So, all right, number 12. Here's the first of the films I've never watched, and I'm ready for y'all to give me shit about it. National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
You've never watched
I've
that?
never watched Christmas Vacation.
Oh, wow.
I've seen Vacation and European Vacation hundreds of times, but I've never watched this one.
Very, very interesting. Especially given how often it comes up.
Oh God, I've had plenty of times to watch it. Yes.
Funny thing, and Liz will probably hate me for this.
Mm,
At this point, I'm not sure I would recommend it to you.
okay.
I think it's a bit dated. It's a little bit of a product of its time, in my opinion. Liz probably disagrees. But
I missed the movie. What?
Christmas Vacation.
Oh, with Chevy Chase?
yeah,
Oh,
hmm
yeah. You have to watch that. You've never seen that?
I'm glad she woke up to hear
Yeah.
the
I'm
title.
sorry. I still thought you were talking about part 2. Um, you have to watch that. What are you talking about, Mikey? Why didn't you?
The way she's going, I'm going to take your advice, Mike.
Yeah, that's like holiday tradition around here. Hell, I'd even watch it now if it was on TV.
Oh, you can find it somewhere.
I'm sure. Yeah, I guess because that was like a lot of our growing up. We had a cousin Eddie, and his name was Daryl, and
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 his
he had
other
a brother
brother was
named
Burl.
Yes, and then the other brother was Larry.
no, it was James.
Close enough.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess maybe that's why I like it, because I kind of relate to it.
Wow, I thought I would have gotten more crap than this, but okay.
hmm
I feel good now.
That's
So
only one. Give us a chance.
okay.
But
Well, I mean the third one, I don't think you're going to give me problems with, but you might give me problems with the next one because the next one is the next film I have never seen. At number 11, Rocky 3.
dun, 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 dun,
I don't
I've
think I've
not.
ever watched any of the Rocky
I
movies.
haven't watched any of the Rockies. No.
huh. Wow.
I mean, I've probably seen enough clips of the first one to fake my way through it, but
I've seen enough clips on all of them to be quite
I've
honest.
never been a huge Stallone fan, and I've never been a boxing fan.
That's the thing. I don't really watch boxing films. So
Right.
So you haven't seen what was the one about Jake LaMotta?
Raging Bull.
Yeah.
Nope.
Oh,
Heard it's good.
Yep.
Just doesn't appeal to me.
I can
Not important to
understand.
me.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen Raging Bull,
De
unless it's that
Niro.
one that has the Doors song in it. That was pretty messed up.
Robert De Niro.
Maybe I have then. But yeah, I've seen all the Rockies. I think we watched Dad liked Rambo. And so after Rambo, I think we pretty much watched every freaking Stallone movie they made,
Even Stop or My Mom Will Shoot.
Oh God.
I think so.
Even I don't
Probably.
want
I'm
to claim
sorry.
that. No,
That
I
was with the lady from Planes,
Golden
Trains, and
Girls.
Automobiles,
Golden
wasn't it?
Girls.
No, it's Golden Girls. It was
It
Mom.
was, it was
Oh,
Estelle
okay.
Getty.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Sophia.
Sophia.
I saw that one too.
Oh God.
Yeah.
How about Cobra?
I think
Seen it.
so. That was like 80s too, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was with him
Yeah.
and Bridget Nielsen.
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Well, see, Dad had a TV shop, so he had a lot of videos and stuff, and it's not like a video store or anything, but he did keep videos. But he would take us to the video store at least once a week.
Yeah, but there's other choices than Stallone. I mean,
Well,
come on.
yeah, but if we only went once a week, we watched ours the first day. We had to watch what Dad picked. We
Wow.
had to watch TV and commercials. See, even back then, I was like this.
Mm.
All right. Continuing on, please. At number 10, Superman 2.
Cool.
Yeah.
At number 9, Mikey would actually rename this as Space Moby Dick, but Wrath of Khan.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys all hear that in your head when you hear the name of the movie, right?
Oh, sure. 100%.
Oh, sure. But
Absolutely.
Mike,
Really,
Mi-
but okay.
Mikey's always talked about the fact that there were so many reference lines from Moby Dick being quoted in that film.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the Enterprise crew were quoting A Tale of Two Cities,
Yeah,
and Khan was quoting Moby Dick the whole time.
right.
Khan kind of was his Moby Dick, though, wasn't he?
Oh, he was a dick. Yeah.
I think Kirk was Khan's Moby Dick.
Okay, yeah, I can see
But
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you got the right idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay, at number 8, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Wait. Okay, now you've seen it. I was gonna say you haven't seen that one.
Oh, I've seen it like 500 times. Yes.
Right.
At least, yeah.
Mhm. Oh yeah, it's a Western, and even I've seen it. I mean, come on.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like Westerns that much.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God. She's gonna be doing that the rest of the show.
Wow.
At number 7,
Thank you for going on. Yes.
Evil Dead 2.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
At number 6, the final movie I have not seen, the 1979 version of Dawn of the Dead.
I don't think I've
Did
seen
a
that
show
either.
on that one, didn't we?
No.
We did Night of the Living Dead.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
There
I haven't seen Dawn of the Dead either.
There's night, dawn, and day. I've seen night like 100 times, day a couple of times, but not dawn. I've seen the remake by Snyder, but I would like to see this one.
Yeah.
Okay, so at number 5, The Two Towers.
Mm-hmm.
Like Stephen King's Towers, or
No, that's
As
the Dark
in,
Tower.
as
Lord
in,
of the
as-
Rings.
what?
No, he's seen it.
That's okay.
No, he's done with
I've-
the ones he hasn't seen.
Yes.
All of the rest of these he's seen.
Says about to fall over in the floor over here.
Okay. Let's take a break here real quick. Liz, the movies I've not seen this Christmas Vacation, Rocky 3, and the 1979 version of Dawn of the Dead. That's it.
Okay.
He's seen all of the rest.
Rest of them I've seen dozens of times, except for Hot Shots. I think I've seen that once. Okay. At number 4, Aliens.
Mm-hmm.
Number
Get away from her.
You bitch. Yes. At number 3, Terminator 2.
It's back.
I mean, okay.
At number 2,
Number 2.
The Empire Strikes Back.
Never heard of it.
Fair.
And does anybody want to guess what number 1 is? It surprised the hell out of me, and no, it's not that.
And these are movies what again?
What he considers the greatest sequels of all time.
Sequel.
Greatest sequels.
Highlander 2, The
Greatest-
Quickening.
Oh, come on, Mikey. This may impress you, Mikey.
The Wraith 2.
Nope.
Scarecrow 2. What was the name of that movie?
Fury.
I forget.
Hey, 2 was looking pretty cool.
And you've seen all you will ever see of it, I'm sure.
I hope not. That was pretty cool. I'd watch the other 30 minutes of it.
Y'all give up?
Mhm.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, what? That's an interesting choice.
It's a decent movie. I mean,
It's a good movie.
it's nowhere as near as good as the first one.
That's what I said. It's not as good as first at all.
So,
It was shoehorned for sure. But
well,
I mean, it's still good. It's still fun to watch.
like I said, it was a subjective list, but it
Sure. That's fine.
it definitely surprised me.
Hmm.
Like, ooh, okay, interesting choice.
Could have been worse.
And on that note, we're going to take a quick break and get back to this week's discussion. Welcome back. This week, we are going to be talking about the anniversary of the opening of Disneyland. 70 years ago. Has anybody been to Disneyland?
No.
No.
Been to Disney World.
Okay, so I'm the only one that's been to Disneyland. Okay. Cool. I can talk about my experience here in a little bit, but opened up in 1955. It's in Anaheim, California. Was this one of the? Was this one of the first theme parks? I'm not sure.
Yes. Yes, it was.
On the scale it was built on, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in California, though, right? Because they already had Disney World going.
No.
No, Disney
Disneyland
World's
was
later.
first.
Yeah.
Much
Yeah,
later.
Disney. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
Disney World was done the same time. No, what was?
No. Let me see.
Oh, 1970. Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I know more about Disneyland than I thought I did then.
Cool.
I thought Disney World was the first one. But Disneyland almost didn't get done. It was a dream of Walt's to actually be able to walk in and meet your heroes and everything else. And he kept running into, more cost and more cost and more cost. And also at the same time, he was doing Snow White, and that was having the same problems and stuff. And that's when he started doing The Wonderful World of Disney to kind of bring in some extra money like Davy Crockett and that kind of stuff, just so he could get these things done. And they had told him at one point, hey, look, it's either one or the other. Pick one. And Walt was like, no, I refuse to pick one. We'll either go bankrupt or we'll make it. And then they started licensing their products. And now we have 2 theme parks here and how many all over the world. So he definitely had a dream that he stuck to and made it come alive. But it almost didn't get done. And then, of course, Snow White came out and was very successful. But my
Oh, what?
opinion, I think had he not started marketing like Snow White dolls and that kind of thing, I don't think either one of them would have happened. I think at that point he was better at spending money than making it. He was a dreamer. He dreamed big. So I really think that's what launched Disney first was their marketing. Of course, the dolls, the lunch boxes, that kind of thing, which made people really want to come see Disney World and stuff, or Disneyland and things. So yeah, pretty cool. Do you guys know how much tickets were?
No.
When it opened?
Yep.
No.
Opening day, adults were $1, kids were 50 cents. But there was a catch. That was only to get into the park because now, you buy a ticket, you get in and you can ride whatever. Um, Tickets were anywhere from 10 cents to a quarter. So even though you spent your money to get in, you could still spend a lot of money on the rides that he had, which later on, I forget what year I think by the time Disney World came along, they changed that model up, which made it a
Well,
little different than a carnival,
yeah,
where
I was
you.
going to say carnivals and state fairs used to,
Hmm.
or and still do in some cases,
Yeah.
the same sort of pricing structure.
Yeah.
You pay them an amount to get in, and then go buy tickets, so you can get on rides and shit.
Hmm. Which now you can buy like the Genie Pass and all that to move you up in the line quicker, but
Right.
all your rides are free. Yep. And then another little cool thing that I didn't know until they tried to build a rocket launch next to my farm. Every night when Disney closes, they have that fireworks show. And you know, one of the biggest fireworks shows, especially to be done nightly. Well, they found out that a lot of the land around the park was getting contaminated from the blow off from all these fireworks and everything else. That's why even now they've regulated both parks, Disneyland and Disney World, that they have to have so much land around the park with nothing in it. That's why they decided to go with the swampland in Florida because, we can't do anything with the land. Might as well, you know, get
Well,
this
and they got
cheap.
it super cheap too.
Yep, because it was useless. Yeah. So even as Disney expands, even today, they have to still make room for that land for the fireworks that they showed that they do daily. Which I thought that was kind of interesting. And then of course, when Disney World opened up, they were in full swing and made their own community and made their own fire department, their own police department, and everything to completely take care of Disneyland or Disney World. I'm not sure about Disneyland. They may use Anaheim's police force. The one in Florida, it's their own.
Because I think Disney World's much larger.
Hmm. It a whole lot,
It's
yeah.
a whole lot larger.
'Cause
Right.
you
And
have
they
all the Animal Kingdom and everything else around Disney World that you don't have in Disneyland.
Right.
Yeah, rumor has it that they pulled strings when they were building Disney World with the state and the local, I guess, counties in the area
Hmm.
so that they could be independent.
Yep. Which was actually pulled from them, what, 2 years ago, 3 years ago? The Reedy Creek was what made them able to have their own like fire department and that kind of thing. And by doing that, it gave them certain tax breaks because if you're not taking from the community, why we're not going to tax you that way. Well, I won't mention names, but the governor down there had other thoughts and thought that Disney wasn't pulling their fair share. Disney, who probably brings millions into California and in Florida, you're not pulling your weight here, and was going to try and tax them and wound up taking all their special credits and everything away from them to make them pay their fair share. Well, now you've got to pay for the extra fire department and the police and everything else that Disney was doing. Oh, it's kind of like, wow, you guys shot yourself in the ass there, didn't you? Just from tourists alone, can you imagine how much money Disney brings into a state?
Well, and
I cannot.
and of course, this was nothing more than just talk, but they talked about possibly relocating Disney World, which would
Hmm.
be a horrible thing to happen to Florida.
It
But
would. Well,
I
and what
mean,
are they going to
but
do
it
with
was
the
just it's all
swampland?
talk, yeah. But it was just talk, because I mean that's a lot of stuff to, you know, yeah.
Yeah,
So
Yeah, it would
it
but
was
they
cost
have
easier.
the
them.
money to do it.
It was easier said
Well,
than done, but yeah.
Yeah,
by a ways.
Okay, let me
yeah.
say
'Cause
this. Oh, go ahead.
Hmm.
Go ahead.
I recall on Disney's TV show, his weekly show,
Hmm.
mhm.
which brought you things like Davy Crockett and some other stuff, they had little special episodes where Walt would speak and talk to you about Disneyland because it was starting construction.
Hmm.
And this excited a lot of people.
Well, didn't he have like that dome, like replica of what he was building? And so he'd actually like show you what he was doing and stuff too.
Like
No,
a model.
Yeah,
Yeah.
model. Yeah.
he had a large model out there, but there was no dome.
Mm.
Uh, in this, of course, it was black and white at that time, and he pointed out the various areas, Tomorrowland, Fantasyland, and all of this, so people got kind of an idea of what was going to happen.
Mm.
But this was in 54 that he
Hmm.
started talking like this.
Yeah.
And at that time, the new Disney movie was Lady and the Tramp,
Oh.
which I remember seeing around this time. But I also saw the Disney stuff on television, and I was excited to have this happening. Yeah,
Hmm.
so that was about to come, and now the big surprise for you. What was their original location?
It was Anaheim, wasn't it?
Nope.
No, that's where
No?
they ended up.
Between Tulsa and Oklahoma City.
That's why you were so excited.
That too.
Oh, I did not know that.
That would have been interesting.
It would have been interesting. Would have
Well,
been an
they
Mhm.
just
interestingly central location for the entire country.
Yeah, that's what they were looking for, yet they chose one of the states in Tornado Alley, which is not exactly where you're going to draw a lot of people.
Mm.
Yeah.
So that was scrapped.
Well, they were talking about opening another one out there near Pilot Point.
Well, I had heard today, in fact, my trainer tell me that word is that they're going to build one in Frisco.
Hmm
Um, they're already building a Universal Park here.
Yeah.
hmm Which is why Disney's got to put theirs. I kind of see like Disney and Universal, like La Quinta's and Denny's. They're always right beside each
Wow.
Okay.
Damn.
I used to think La Quinta meant next to Denny's,
That was the joke. It was not a good joke.
But it was true. Both of
I
them
have
had red roofs. They were beside each other,
I have been to La Quinta hotels that have had like an IHOP next to them,
Wow,
It does happen.
that's crazy.
That's crazy talk.
They
Wow.
breaking the norm.
Poor Norm.
Norm.
So I guess when this opened, Snow White would have been the only princess there. We didn't get
Cinderella.
our
I was about to say,
Cinderella?
when was Cinderella?
didn't
When did Cinderella come out?
I thought Snow White was the first princess.
Well, yeah, but
Snow
Well,
White
that's
was
she
the
was.
first
That was like,
princess, but there was
yeah,
like 18 years before.
yeah.
A
Snow White
significant
was
amount
like
of time
38,
had passed.
39. Yeah,
Snow White was 37.
37. Okay.
he
Disneyland
looks
opened in
younger.
1955. I mean, I'm not a Disney expert, so I don't know how many of the princess movies had come out by then, but there was some.
Yeah.
And that wasn't really their emphasis, was
Yeah.
my understanding. They were doing other, more World's Fair type stuff. I mean, the whole Tomorrowland thing and the whole Fantasyland.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure they had characters of some sort in some capacity. I don't know what, but I don't think that became a bigger thing until later.
Yeah.
Maybe to your point, when they had more princesses to choose from.
Yeah. I don't think
Yeah.
the
I
whole
imagine they
Disney
had,
princess stuff was been within the last 20, 30 years.
right, but you would have had Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and
Oh, yeah. Goofy and
Goofy
Pluto.
and Pluto and those
hmm
those folks,
His
Minnie,
main.
and
Yep.
yeah, they would have been present for sure.
Yep. By 55, we had Snow White and Cinderella.
Yeah, see, totally not enough princesses to
Mhm.
make a big deal out of it.
Sleeping Beauty didn't come around until 59. And then it was 30 years later till we got our fourth Disney princess, which was The Little Mermaid. And then every year after that, pretty much, we got one. 'Cause it was Sleeping Beauty, The Little Mermaid, and then in 91, we got Beauty and the Beast. 92, we got Jasmine from Aladdin. 95, we got Pocahontas. 98, we got Mulan. 2009, we got Tatiana from Princess and the Frog. 2010, we got Tangled, which was Rapunzel. We got 2012, we got Murda from Brave. 2016, of course, we got Moana. And 2021, Raya and the Last Dragon, which I guess would be Raya. And that
then,
is our Disney princesses.
and then in 2023, we had Klinger.
Yep. And then I guess actually too, we also
I thought
had
he was on Smash, but okay.
And
yeah.
somewhere in
Yeah,
there,
but that's
they
what,
bought
but that's what
Princess
they
Leia.
bought. But they bought 20th Century Fox, who owns MASH. So yeah.
Well, I've noticed also on this list, they included Moana in 2016, but they forgot to include Elsa and Anna, and that was 2013. 14. So we actually have more princesses than that. They're saying 12. There's actually 14. Because Elsa and Anna, one of them later became a queen, but, can't be a queen without being a princess, right?
Well, and one of them was sort of the villain of that movie too, right?
Kind of. She was misunderstood.
Okay. Aren't we all?
Yep. She froze the town and they thought she was evil, but she couldn't control her powers at that point. So, and then her
I'm
sister came and
sorry.
saved her. It was a beautiful sister story. And then they
Oh.
come along and kill her in the next one. It's like, Jesus Christ. Why doesn't Walt Disney like people? He definitely didn't like mothers. And have y'all heard
The
the
mother thing
story?
was
That was crazy.
okay.
For those who don't know, um, Walt Disney didn't get along with his mother and didn't have the best childhood and everything else. And they kind of reconnected as he got older and started the whole Disney thing and everything else. Still not having the great relationship though. And he wanted to make things right with her. I think he bought her a house and then he bought her a stove. The stove wound up getting a gas leak and it blew the house up and it killed his mother. Now,
Ah,
can you imagine having a strained relationship with your mother and then she winds up dying like that and you have to tell people, I didn't kill her. I swear, I just bought the stove. But yeah, that was like craziness.
Wow.
But the relationship he had with her was the reason why you see the step parents and the evil stepmother and.
In Walt's defense, that had been a trope for a long time before he ever came along. I mean, half of Victorian and pre-Victorian British literature is just full of dead mothers.
Yeah, but he seemed to like it a little too much.
Well, yeah, that's sure. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm not taking that part away from it,
he
but
killed Bambi's mother on screen. I mean,
No,
that's pretty
no, he
cold.
didn't. No, he didn't.
Well, he implied it.
Okay.
You
right, which
see
is
her, and then off screen
legitimately
you hear the
off
shot.
screen.
Yeah, we all knew what happened.
And we were
No,
all scarred accordingly. But anyway,
Yes.
we can't even say
Godzilla
it.
killed Bambi.
that's
Right.
true.
What did?
That come later. That wasn't on your buddy's sequel list, now was it?
No.
Nope.
But they had talked about redoing Bambi and taking that scene out of there. And I think that is so crazy. I mean, it's like making Uncle Ben not die for Peter Parker. You know, that was the defining turning moment for both of them. Bambi had to grow up, and so did Peter Parker.
Oh, I thought you meant Peter and Uncle Ben.
Yeah, well, I mean, if Uncle Ben wouldn't have died, he still would have been the little snot-nosed punk, trying to make quick cash at the boxing things. But he realized he had to care and he had to take responsibility. Peter Parker. Bambi just
Right.
had to grow up and have a baby.
Well, Bambi had to be responsible too. So come on.
Yeah, yeah, he had a whole forest he was taking care of. But yeah, I I think there's just certain things they should just leave alone. Bambi, that's definitely one of them.
So, Tom, tell us about when you went to Disney.
Hmm.
I don't remember a lot of the trip. Um,
Yeah, you were
I
fairly
do.
little at the time, right?
I was, well, I mean, I was 12. So, I mean, I was old enough. But I remember two rides in particular. I really enjoyed the Pirates in the Caribbean. That was kind of cool watching all the animatronics and all that. And the other one I don't have fond memories of. And it's It's a Small World trip. And the reason why I don't have fond memories of it is that fucking song.
Small world after all. That one?
Yes, that goes on the entire ride.
Yeah. Small world.
You're not helping, Liz. You're not helping.
I was trying to
Giving
be
it,
nice and not say anything, but
giving him flashbacks here. Come on now.
Oh, like when he sings Baby Shark to me?
He hasn't done that in weeks.
to be fair, I have not done that in a while. So.
It doesn't
I,
mean he hasn't taken the bait to do it now.
Well, she's gonna expect it now. I
It's
ain't gonna
right.
do it right now.
See, now I know when he starts singing Baby Shark, I can go, it's a small world.
you don't know how good his therapy's been over. He could be totally over.
Maybe.
Uh,
Maybe not.
no, I'm broke beyond repair. So
Fair enough.
I mean, I remember enjoying the trip and maybe I don't have that a lot of memories because I've never really been a big Disney person. I remember watching the show on Sunday nights, but I don't remember too much about that. Maybe some of the cartoons and then, Davy Crockett or something like that. So that may be the reason why I don't remember too much of my time at Disneyland. I think I was more impressed with Universal because we went to that too. And the main thing I remember about that was being pissed off because the shark wasn't working that day. It's like,
Oh, that's no
God
fun.
damn it. God damn it. What the hell? And then the photo op of sitting on a bike going across the moon with E.T. in the basket.
That would have been right around that time, wouldn't it?
That's cool.
And seeing the Bates house up on the hill. That was cool to see that.
Geez, would you have seen Psycho by then? At
Well,
age 12?
Psycho 2 was actually out at that point.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah, it came out a week after
Yeah.
It came out the week after Return of the Jedi,
Yeah.
which was 83. And I think that was the only reason why Psycho 2 was not the #1 movie in the land, because Jedi was still out. Jedi's second week. So
I surprised myself when we went to Florida. We went up there to get Bill's Harley, first Harley he had. Um, we had a choice to either go to Disney World or Universal, and we chose Universal because they had the superheroes and stuff at the time there. So it was like I still haven't been to Disney, and I need to because I like grew up on Disney. I'm a Disney adult. But my time that I got to go there, I chose not to.
I would assume they would have the Marvel superheroes around now.
You'd think, wouldn't you?
And the Star Wars characters too. Although there's the Galaxies thing, so that they may be all there. I don't know. Was it Galaxy's Edge or whatever?
When we went, it was like the Hulk and stuff like that. was that called? It's like the Isle of something.
Misfit Toys.
Dr. Moreau.
I don't think it was. Maybe it was part of Universal and not.
Gilligan's Isle.
It was the Island of Adventure.
Island of Adventure. Danger Isle. Uh-oh, Chungo.
I guess it was Universal.
And nobody's going to get that reference, and that's okay. That's okay.
I got a MST3K vibe out of it.
It was a show that was part of Banana Splits. It was kind of an action adventure thing that actually had, I believe, Jan Michael Vincent was part of the cast.
Wow.
Because it was like early to mid 70s. I can't remember who else was on it. I thought it was kind of cool, but that was also 100 years ago, so
Right.
it may not hold up as well.
Here was the Banana Splits.
It went on for a
Yeah.
while.
Banana Splits was 70s. I don't know about 60s, but definitely 70s.
68 to 70.
Oh, so it was only a couple years. Okay.
It got a lot of mileage in reruns because I remember it way later
Yeah.
than that.
Yeah.
Me too. No good news is good news.
Seeing the Three Musketeers cartoon and
Was the Great Space Coaster, was that a sideshow of them, or was that a whole different show?
that was a different show. I think that was no, maybe it was, or was that part of H&R Puffin stuff, or Sid and Marty Krofft? That may have been part of it. I don't know. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It's all a blur
I think
now.
the canoe thing was Great Space Coaster. Get on board.
Well, because both of them had all different types of different shows. They were played
Yeah,
different shows, so I
like
mean
a variety.
yeah. So it's really easy to get them all mixed up.
Yep, that one ran from 81 to 86, and I think they did play the reruns of Banana Splits at the same time. So, yep. What was that? Pork and Snuff, the hotel with the little blob. Why me? Maybe. Giggle Snort. Yeah, it was Giggle Snort Hotel.
Yeah, I think you've mentioned that before.
Mm-hmm. Nobody remembers it.
I remember vaguely remember the name, but I don't remember the show.
Yeah.
Yep, she remembers this kind of things, folks, but don't ask her where her car keys are.
No.
Yeah.
Or my glasses are.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, I pick on you for this. We're all that way. So yeah, I mean, obviously Disneyland is something that is hugely symbolic of childhood and memories,
Mhm.
whether you've ever been there or not.
Yep. Y'all remember that movie? It
No,
was
but
an
thank you for
older
asking.
movie.
We're going to do one of the Gina comments now. Go ahead.
That has that guy. You know
Yeah.
that guy that was in that other thing.
For me, they played it in school a lot, and it was oh, it's a tall, tall tree if it's up to me. Sons of Liberty. Was it Sons of Liberty? No, it was.
No,
What was
Sons of Anarchy.
what was the guy's name? 'Cause he was kind of like in this story, he was kind of like the Paul Revere, but it wasn't Paul Revere. It was, I want to say Johnny.
Eagle snort.
Johnny Appleseed.
Johnny Bravo.
Let's see. Hang on, let me look it up real quick. That's gonna drive me crazy.
That's
Johnny
what's going to
Cart.
drive her crazy.
Johnny Tremaine.
Okay.
It was released in 1957.
Yeah.
Yep,
That was a Disney show.
that was probably the one that stuck out in my head the most. I think, like I said, I think we watched it in school quite a bit, and then they played it on TV quite a bit too.
Interesting.
Mhm. But that was like his Davy Crockett and stuff that he was making in the 50s. Did
Why
any
were
of
you
y'all
watching
see
that
that
in
one?
school?
Because it was like the Paul Revere story, the Boston Tea
Oh,
Party,
okay.
and
Historical stuff. Okay,
yeah,
that makes sense.
mhm,
That makes sense.
yep,
Cool.
yeah. He was
Um,
a silversmith apprentice who became involved with the Sons of Liberty in Boston during the American Revolution.
those Sons of Liberty. Okay.
hmm
Yeah, I couldn't help but picture in my head a biker gang either, but that's
But they
fine.
should have named the movie Sons of Liberty. Because the song that I keep singing over and over and over and over in my head, they played it all through the movie, and it was probably just one song.
Probably.
Mm, yeah.
Yep. They got their point across. So
hmm
Over and
And
over and over.
stuck pretty close to to the facts. Of course, the teacher would tell you Johnny Tremaine is not Paul Revere. Paul Revere actually made that ride. And I think they also left out the shot heard around the world.
that was a baseball game.
The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant. The Giants win the pennant.
I knew this was coming.
Yep. Pretty cool.
And there's Winchester on the ground, fainted.
hmm
Yeah.
So yeah, check out Disneyland if you have any kind of desire.
Yep.
There is a lengthy article in Wikipedia about it. It
Yeah, it's got a good
is,
bit of detail.
yeah, which is very interesting. So personally, I would check that out.
And there was also that documentary that Liz told us about a little ways back. That was,
Yeah.
I mean, probably on Disney Plus, honestly, but
hmm No, I think that was actually Discovery because it was like the
oh,
companies
that's
that
right.
built
It
America
was
or something.
right. It started out as part of a series that was, yeah, it was
hmm
like History Channel or something like that. Yeah, yeah.
Yep. How Disney built America. But it looks like that is on Disney Plus too.
I can't
Being
imagine
Disney.
that it's
Yeah.
not.
Hmm.
But the History Channel also has it.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah. That one's pretty cool because it goes into like the birth of Mickey Mouse and like I was talking about with Snow White, and
Right. It starts
they
at the beginning.
even talk about the theme park and stuff some too.
All right. On that note, we are going to take a quick break and be back with geek news for you. Welcome back. It's time for geek news for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. And for this week, it's Liz and myself. And Liz, would you go first, please?
Yep. Well, I'm going to kind of keep the Disney theme here because my article is about some stuff that Disney Plus is actually talking about doing. Um, I guess this falls under the category of who the hell asked for this?
This is going to become a regular segment at some point on our show.
Right? We should. Um, so apparently, if you're watching a show on Disney Plus, which will also cover Hulu and all that other crap, Hulu and ESPN, and let's say the guy you like is wearing this really cool jacket and you want it. Well, Disney Plus is now going to make it to where you can buy that jacket. They're going to put up a storefront where they will sell you fashion and accessories and that kind of thing that you see on TV. Not only that, if you're hungry and you don't feel like getting up and making yourself a snack, you can now order through your Disney Plus app through, I forget which service they're going to use for this. Um, but they'll deliver your snacks and stuff to you. I ah,
Don't you have to get up to open the door to get your
you
snacks? I mean,
do.
you might
You
as well just walk
do.
to the damn kitchen, right?
Right. But
But
don't you
you know what?
don't you
People will
kind of
do
have
this.
to yeah. I I don't know who would want this. We have Grubhub. We have what's the other one? Uber Dash or Dash Uber?
Uber Eats, DoorDash,
Yeah,
Yeah,
DoorDash, Uber
something
Eats.
like
there's a ton
that.
of them.
Yeah. I mean, and we also have Favor who does convenience stores. I think Puff Puff Go does convenience stores. So it's kind of like there's really don't we have enough apps?
No, we don't. Of course we don't.
I mean, some of it's kind of cool because, they did say that they were going to do like Star Wars memorabilia and that kind of thing. Some of that might be cool if it's like exclusive stuff, but I don't know. I just think there's other ways and better ways you can do your
Liz,
shopping. Hmm.
you know, there are better ways, but you know who they're going to grab with this? Impulse buyers.
Yeah, for sure.
That's who they're aiming for.
Well, and I don't know if you guys have ever been inside of a Disney store. But the stuff in there, you're going to pay twice as much as if you find Mickey Mouse at Walmart or, or
Sure.
wherever else
Of
outside of the
course.
Disney store. So
Sure.
I'm wondering, this popcorn that on Grubhub would cost you $5, on Disney, is it going to cost 10 because it's Disney?
Maybe. Who
And if
knows?
Disney's delivering this to me, are they going to put the mouse ears on my popcorn for the extra $5?
I
I
want
want
the
mouse
Grubhub
ears.
driver wearing mouse ears.
That's what I was thinking, that the mouse ears come with the hub driver.
They should. They
Oh, yeah.
gotta make themselves different than every other app that we already have that does this.
All
Of
I
course.
can think. Oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No,
No, go ahead. Go ahead,
no,
Les.
I could only think of Brad from Fast Times wearing his pirate gear, driving the food to another client.
Yeah.
Well, and if you're watching a Pirates of the Caribbean movie, that fits perfectly.
Yeah. True. Johnny Depp and mouse ears. Let me order it.
Right. We're what we were talking about Frozen earlier. I want whoever drops off my to sing "Let It Go" at the top of the
Yep.
on my front door.
As they're handing it over, saying "Let it go."
Hmm.
I thought it was Let It Snow, but I could be wrong.
Right?
I don't know. Do you want to build a snowman?
Yeah. Like I said, definitely going to be a little different. And I see for people like now. Now they said they've done this before, like the MTV Music Awards. I don't watch that kind of shit, and like the Olympics or something too. Now, for people like me who are not interested in shopping on Disney, is it still going to put like a little box up to show me that there's something on the screen that I can buy?
Probably. Yeah.
That's going to be annoying as hell.
Okay.
You might as well throw a commercial, which
don't give them any ideas.
right isn't that why I'm streaming again?
No.
So it's kind of like, wow, you're taking your advertising really far.
Mhm.
There's a
Levels.
difference in saying, "Hey, drink Coke," and "Hey, we're gonna bring you one."
There is. And if they
So
can get somebody to do it, it's worthwhile.
yeah,
And
and
honestly, if they can't, they'll stop doing it after a while.
yeah, and I know there's like weekends I'm here by myself or whatever that we do use Grubhub every once in a while, so it's a use service, but I don't know. I don't know what made them decide to throw their hat in this ring. You know, like
Yeah, you do.
Disney doesn't have enough hats out. You know.
You know
Ding,
exactly why they did it.
ching.
And I do hope that it's a service that once they start offering it, they make people like me a way to turn it off because I don't want it. I don't want it on my screen. So, yeah, good
Good
luck.
luck. Good luck with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, they make me pay to turn the commercials off, so there ought to be a way to turn that off too.
Maybe they'll bundle that with that turning the commercials off. Who knows? Well, you won't
Yeah,
know until they start doing it.
they'll start doing. Which I don't think this has said. La 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 la. I don't see a date on when they're thinking about doing this.
Sooner than you'd expect.
Probably. Or it's one of those things where they're just sort of testing the waters to
Yeah.
see how people react to it. To the idea.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Now, if they can bring me actual popcorn from like AMC, I would order it.
Oh,
That's the only thing I miss from the movies. But Orville Redenbacher, I've got that. I can make that myself.
Mm,
I
2 minutes in the microwave and we're good to go.
I think
hmm
I think doesn't Walmart carry AMC popcorn?
Yeah, but that's not
AMC
the
brand.
same. It's not air popped the way
It's
the movie
right. It hasn't
theaters
been
are.
sitting in the box for 3 hours.
hmm Where it's nice and greasy and
Oh, the
oh
grease is the
yeah,
only way to make it palatable. So anyway,
yeah.
that
And then
makes
you
it
wait the
so.
next day and it's even better. It's like,
so
oh man.
Oh, jeez.
might as well
God.
just eat
Yeah.
the packing material at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, the packing popcorn. Yes.
Mhm.
Just do shots of the grease. It's more nutritious.
Yep. Which is just coconut oil. But
Oh,
yeah.
jeez, I'm getting ill.
I laugh, and one of these days that he's going to say that.
Alrighty. I guess it's time for my article. And I'm going to continue the change theme. On the 19th, local comic book stores got an email from Diamond advising that they are discontinuing the print editions of Previews catalog.
Whoa.
Oh
Man.
no!
Everything's going to be online from now on.
No.
Kind of
Hmm.
surprised it lasted this long.
Yeah. It's going to be free, and there will be links to Preview World, so you can be able to, the customers can be able to get the order information and submit it. So, and the additional edition actually went on live on the 20th. So I mean, literally 24 hours notice.
Yeah.
So, but apparently, all the people who had been behind putting the catalogs together do not know their future. They're assuming that they're going to lose their jobs.
Yeah.
Including, according to this article, editor Grosser, who has been editing Previews catalog for 37 years and 441 issues.
Dang.
Well, that
So,
sucks.
and if you're not familiar with Previews, it's a catalog that Diamond put out monthly of comic books, toys, all the merchandising that's going to be coming out, it's going to be released usually about 3 or 4 months in it later.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
And weren't they only like a couple of dollars?
yeah, something like that.
Oh, they were pretty expensive.
Back
They're
then,
like
I bet.
$6 or better.
Were they?
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been forever since I've even
Yeah.
looked at one.
Well, in a lot of comic book shops, if you spend so much, you got one free anyway. So most time was free.
So,
Well, it's sad. I always like digging through that to see, just what was coming out. And sometimes they would talk to the artist or the writer or, have an article in there.
whenever one came out, Les and I always got our copies, sit down on the table, and start
Mhm.
looking through it and pointing stuff out to the
I
others.
remember doing that a few times with you guys. Yep,
Mm,
It was fun.
it was. Because sometimes, you'd miss something that someone else would point out,
Yeah. So,
Yep, you lost thousands of dollars from that practice. But anyway.
We sat down with Les. Now, like, oh man, I may have to mortgage the dog.
Mm. Can you pawn a dog? Does that work? I don't know.
If
I
you
gave
buy
her
them from
good.
Petland.
Oh,
I
ouch.
gave her good ideas for it, but she never really tried it out. So
Right. Ungrateful, that's what it is.
No, I bought everything he suggested.
yeah, I'm such a whiz.
Hey, you, yeah, you.
Don't
I always
go you.
right. You cost me a lot of money, Les.
That I'll take the fault for.
I always knew if Les recommended it to me, I was going home with it. Just it if he put it in my hands and said it was good, then I trusted him and was like, cool. I don't think there's been too much on that we ever disagreed on,
Which I appreciate. And
Mhm.
Thomas was one to fortify that.
Yep. Oh yeah. Get both of you in the store at the same time.
Bye money.
Yeah. So you're like, can you just throw that receipt away? No paper trail.
alrighty. Any special shout outs or mentions this week?
Well, apparently we should say happy birthday, Liz.
Yes, thank you.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun, dun.
Other than that, nope.
Okay. Any others? Any other shout outs or mentions this week?
Nothing for me.
No.
Alrighty. We'll move on to the regular shout outs. First of all, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture for allowing us to be part of a great little podcast network. We recommend that you check them out. There'll be a link in the show notes. Also, I want you to check out the fine men and women who are kind enough to spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter by retweeting our links. They're better known as Podern Family. To find them, you just do a search, #PodernFamily, and just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, by all means, check them out. We hope you have a great time listening to them. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. In our show notes, there'll be a link where you can check out some of their other music. And you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. You can contact us via email at thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form you can fill out. You can join our Discord. Discord is free to sign up, and apps are free. We do have an open invitation on our homepage. On our Discord, we'll post a lot of news items, stuff for discussions, stuff to laugh at, some music to listen to, some other discussions. We'll have some activities on there as well. So if you want to come hang out with us, that's where we're going to be. In terms of social media, we're on Facebook, The Fellowship of the Geeks. On Instagram, Twitter, and Bluesky, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you want to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind enough as to rate and review our show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Appreciate you listening.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We appreciate the support as always. And until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,